Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm basically going to be sharing my experience of how I got my unconditional offer for a Russell Group university. I'm not really going to bore you guys with like the crux of the crux of how it happened and that kind of stuff, because like really, honestly, truly, it's not interesting. But what I am going to do is basically give you guys some tips and like direction in terms of like how you can achieve the same thing, and if you want to be able to say that you get to go to university even if you got 3 E's, then definitely keep watching. And although I mean I wouldn't advise getting 3 E's because yeah, but you can if you want and still go to university if you get this unconditional offer. So let's just get straight into this video. I'm also just going to explain a little bit about what an unconditional offer is. If you're new to the whole applying to university thing and you're probably sitting there thinking like, what does an unconditional offer mean? Well, basically an unconditional offer is a offer from a university that if you put them as your first choice, so you say yes, this is where I want to go, in return they will remove the grade requirements and say that no matter what happens on results day, providing that you get 3 E. Basically what they're trying to say is you have to go and sit the exam. You can't be jetting off to Morocco and Hawaii and enjoying your life during exam season. Providing you get that, you have a place at our university. You don't have to put a backup university. In September, you can pack your bags and say that I'm going here even if results day doesn't go to plan. Basically, depending on what university you want to go will depend on whether you can get an unconditional offer. So if you want to go to Manchester, if you want to go to Bristol, if you want to go to, I don't know, St Andrews, if you want to go to Edinburgh, I'm just naming universities off the top of my head right now. If you want to go to a particular university, that university may or may not actually offer unconditionals. So depending on the university, if you're like, I really want to go to Bristol, like ever since I came out the womb, it has been my dream to go to Bristol and I want this unconditional offer. I want to say that no matter what happens, I get to go to Bristol. Honey, I'm really sorry, but they don't really give out unconditionals. Even if you're 1 grade above the prediction, they'll still be like, cool, get the grade then, and we'll see you in September. That's kind of how they roll. Whereas Nottingham and Birmingham, two who are kind of known for this, they consider giving out unconditionals a lot more. Whereas Bristol and like Warwick, less so. So yeah, that's kind of something to think about first of all. If you want this kind of offer, you have to make sure you're applying to at least 1 or 2 universities who even consider giving the offer. The second thing about getting unconditional offer is the only way that you can come by an unconditional is by working hard. There is no special remedy or recipe to an unconditional. If you put in the work and you do it right, you can get an unconditional. If you sit around doing absolutely nothing and spend all your time bopping in the club and then, I don't know, revise a week before the exams, then soz babes, an unconditional is going to be much harder to come by. I started working hard when I got into year 12. I would read articles on things that I was learning in class. I would do extra reading. I'd watch documentaries on things that I was interested on surrounding that subject. It will also help with your personal statement because it makes things a lot easier when you already have these kind of books that you've read or articles that you've read. Rather than then when it comes to writing your personal statement, having to flick through all these books and try and figure out what you even want to write about. There's no 2 ways about it, guys. Honestly, just work in order to build like yourself a good foundation in order to achieve that offer and in order to put yourself in a good position to achieve that offer is probably a better term to use. Also, the next thing I wanted to touch on, I've said how obviously in terms of getting an unconditional offer depends on the university. I've also talked about how hard work is inevitable, like you have to put in the work in order to try and achieve. Next thing I kind of wanted to highlight is about your predicted grades and about your GCSE grades. So an unconditional offer is looking at you as a whole. It's not just about your predicted grades. So they do consider your GCSE grades. I wouldn't let that make you worry or put you off of it, of trying to get one. They also look at your predicted grades, obviously. So for, if you guys want to know what I got all A stars and A's in my GCSEs, and then my predicted grades for my A levels were A star, AA. They also look at your personal statement as well, and also your references and just you as a whole. So it's more of a longevity thing, I do feel like. And if you want to know how likely you would be to get an unconditional, or get what sort of offer you'd be likely to get, as I said earlier, Birmingham offer unconditionals. So they have this thing on their website where you can look up how likely you are to get an offer. Put your GCSE results in and you put your A-level predictions in. It could be a couple of other things you might have to add as well. I can't remember exactly. And then it kind of like calculates it, and it tells you how likely you are to get an offer. Definitely look that up. It's quite useful and interesting to see. So I will link it in the description bar below if you're interested in looking at that. The next thing I would say in terms of getting an unconditional, what you need to think about is the course. So some courses just don't really give out unconditionals. Once again, from my experience, I applied for history and politics joint honours, and so I don't really know exactly whether that's a popular course for getting unconditionals. I mean, it's a joint honours, so it's not exactly a walk in the park. It's still something I have to work for. It's a lot of reading and that kind of thing, but the course you apply for does also kind of indicate, or implicate your whether you could receive an unconditional, whether you could receive an offer. The course I was applying to, the grade requirements were AAA, and as I said earlier, my prediction grades were A star, AA. I think that also played a part in the fact that I was already predicted to get one grade above what they were asking for. So I think that's a consideration. That's just something to bear in mind. It's something from experience. Basically everyone who I talked to who have got unconditionals were above the grade requirements, and that was definitely a factor. But that doesn't mean you will get an unconditional offer, because I also applied to Warwick. I did get an offer. The grade requirements were the same as Nottingham. It was AAA, but they didn't offer me an unconditional even though I have one grade above the requirement. So being one grade above the requirement or 2 grades above the requirement doesn't mean anything. They can still just offer you the standard offer. And once again, it goes back to my point about the fact that it's not just about your predicted grades and what they're asking for, it's all of these other things. Another thing to think about in terms of the course is it does mean that certain courses just aren't really unconditional likely courses, and that is also down to competitiveness. So I think that's basically kind of the 3 areas I wanted to highlight about getting an unconditional offer. Honestly, guys, it comes down to hard work and what you're willing to put in. There are certain factors which are just a given, like what kind of university you're applying to, what course you're applying to, what grades you have. There are certain things that are set in stone, but with hard work you can achieve an unconditional. And if you want to experience something like that, then I would 100% recommend aiming for that. But don't solely pick somewhere or apply to places just because they're offering an unconditional. Make sure you like the uni, make sure you feel that you could live there, because it's not just 1 year, it's 3. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into picking a university, and I will be talking about that in other videos as well, about how I chose the 5 that I did choose to apply for, which I don't know if I said was Bristol, Leeds, Warwick, Nottingham and Manchester, and it was Nottingham that provided me with an unconditional offer for history and politics. It's something that I think everyone should aim for if that's what you want to do. And the reason I'm saying that is because I was never this academic girl who got A stars all the time, who got 100% in her test. If you know me, you will know that up until probably the end of, not even the end of year 10, up until my mocks in year 11, your girl was just enjoying life. I was out here like, hey, like it was lit for me. And I'm not saying the past 2-3 years of school wasn't lit, but as in like, work was like one of my lowest priorities up until my mocks in year 11 flop. I've never been this straight A star student with 100% in every test who spends 24/7 in the library and studies all the time. That was not me. And I I think for me, it's more about the fact to let you know that if you didn't even do well in your GCSEs, it's never too late to start and to push yourself and to work hard and to be an academic person as well. Like, just because you haven't been academic up until now doesn't mean you can't start becoming academic, doesn't mean you can't pull out those grades. Like I said, like, the reality is hard work is a thing. Like, it actually does work, ironically. So yeah, I would encourage anyone who wants to achieve an unconditional offer, or is curious about that kind of thing, or who just wants to push themselves to get all 5 offers or anything like that, just do it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I upload on Mondays and Fridays. There will be more to come in this university series. I'll be talking UCAS and all that kind of stuff for people who would like to know more, or who are just confused about the whole process. If you want to know more, or any more information or tips or tricks, or you just have questions, then comment them down below and I will reply to them. Or you can send me an email. My email will be linked in the description bar below. I'm here to help, happy to help. Okay, see you guys next time. Bye.